Uh, First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. Um, and actually, it's funny. This lady that you see here has been doing her best to show her child. I remember being in the office with her, and she was doing everything to me for me to see her child. And I remember I looked away, and it seemed like she felt like defeated by that. But the reason why she wanted me to look at her child is because today, as a target individual, I'm forced to get these disgusting experiences that they want me to feel guilty for when they manipulate me to experience these experiences. And so they have this whole like ecosystem of trash who try to gaslight me. So what you're gonna hear here is me in the call. Also, no, she gets on camera. She wasn't on camera all along. She gets on the camera, and it's clear that she was getting on the camera because she wanted me to see her child, and so she can play these protective children. Because all along she wasn't on the camera. But I understand why she would do that, because the last time she tried to have her child being seen, failed. And this is kind of perp that is very cognitive, like she got this cognitive dissonance, because the reality is, I know, obviously, that this program is harming children. It's becoming so obvious that they can't even deny it and fight this, because there's even lawsuits of targeting individual versus governmental entities, where women and their children are some of the plaintiff. That's why you hear the woman called Deborah and Berta saying that me and my child are both being harmed via this technology. And they think they believe they're targeting individual. They call themselves targeting individual. And the truth is, there's a lot of other women with children who deal with that, and parents seeing their children. So to get validated that children are being harmed in this program doesn't take much. There's actual first like level, like first class, like self testimonials, videos of it that you're gonna hear. There's now this kind of lawsuits where women are saying that not only I'm being tortured in this thing, but children. And there's also, it goes as far as even women being forced to get sexual arousal toward their own children. It's funny, this woman was trying to like debunk the fact that I'm using this ChatGPT technology to get this result. But the truth is, I can back it up by other people saying the same thing. Sexual arousals, this disgusting manipulation. I've known this before, even using ChatGPT or other technology. It's just, it facilitates the whole thing when you have this technology that can basically synthesize this kind of claims. I mean, she can't even debunk the fact that this lawsuit where women saying I'm being harmed with my child. And it's been disgusting to see this woman wanting to enjoy this program, but me putting the reality that what you're involved in, you know, it harms children. And in this program, there's a lot of women who've claimed that they're seeing a lot of female participants. You know, I'm in the realm where we are in the regard of work. I'm in something where this kind of ChatGPT AI level of like search engine are being pushed onto us, because this is where the future is going. And it's funny that in the same realm, I mean, these people are trying to gaslight me to debunk this obviousness here, and try to make it sound like this ChatGPT is just getting some wrong information. The truth is, there's a lot of this information. Facebook, Reddit, all YouTube videos, all of target individuals are speaking up. They're not being believed, but they're speaking up. They're even suing. And I'm in a realm where they're pushing us to use this technology that will be the future technology in regard of researching. But I want to debunk that. But I'll refuse to do that. I'm going to put the obvious things that they can't even debunk. Hey, listen. You're going to hear this. This is this woman. I'm going to blur her face. She looks like annoyed and mad. And you can see she's distressed because she still want to paint herself as this like justice seeker. And so first, I hear a child. That's what you're going to hear. That little snippet is like, this little girl is crying or yelling. And then you see a little tiny little head. It's an adorable little girl. Just a little walking, just a little, look like those like, you know, like you see like those, I don't know, in those islands when they were shrinking heads. They look like one of this little. Now, I don't, you know, this baby's adorable. She's an innocent child. But unfortunately, the mother is having her camera on so I can see this little baby, and so they can manipulate me and play like they're protecting children. And so I look at this little baby, I'm like, oh. And as I'm saying, oh, they try to mess with me, my tongue, try to mess. But it's just very, very little tiny little miniature head. You barely see. But at the same time, I'm disturbed because as I'm seeing this kid, they're forcing me to get this experience. They give me disgusting stimulation. I can feel it in the private part immediately. They force me to have this stimulation. Now, like I said, I don't put that on the child. She's just a baby. But this woman purposely had her child be seen so they can do these things. And by the way, you heard the noise campaign. You heard the slamming in the door and this and that. What they're doing is to try to make me feel guilty for how they manipulate me. This is typical things they do. They have a whole ecosystem that's supposed to gaslight you. That's supposed to make you feel like you're not being manipulated this way. That's why they have you heard the dog barking, right? All of that, you're going to hear this is what they do. And I'm glad they do that in real time. Because you just heard in life situation how they are purposely doing this manipulation. How they're purposely doing this gaslighting, noise campaign, all of that. You're going to hear other system. Do you know the thing with ChatGPT is literally describing this? I did not make these fake noises of a dog barking. I didn't slam a door. It just happened. And you're going to hear that this is what they do, where they try to make the target individual identify with this manipulation and how it's timed. I'm glad they did this. And to this woman, you'll get yours. You know what you're involved in. You know they harm the babies younger than your child, your little girl. It's disgusting. For you to think that I will internalize how they manipulate me like this because you're looking at me, don't worry. I've understood that that this is even happening to women. And you're going to hear that in the program where they torture women, which is where I'm in, and manipulate them this way, even other women play the perps, gaslight them. Everything they do is systematically done, but you kind of understand, it's like, oh, this is what they do, this thing. And I've noticed with them to try to break me down as I see things for what they are. They do their best to repaint themselves in this protective matter. So, and by the way, I saw just a fraction of this little head. Like, it's tiny, and the head is already tiny. It doesn't even look like those little, like, shrank heads. And you hear this noise campaign with this dog barking because they want me to feel guilty when they do this. That is exactly what you're going to hear. Because they want me to feel scared, guilty for what they make me experience it as if that's not what they designed me to experience. But the manipulation of my brain, not only they stimulate me, they start making me imagine things and things and that. And they try to be like, no, but it's imagining. No, you're making me have these thoughts and experiencing this stimulation because this is how you break people down, and you do that to women with children. Listen to how obvious it is. You're going to listen to the noise campaign that you just heard being described in ChatGPT. I live in an apartment. Listen to, you just heard that in real time. I didn't make ChatGPT say this thing. This is what it's saying, and it matches exactly what they're doing here. Then you're going to hear what they do to children, and then before that, you're going to hear this woman, the child. I wasn't able to take the picture of it, but at least I heard the child. Like, okay, because they stimulate me even by hearing the child. Listen to this.
careful and transparent without endorsing the claims or adding detail beyond what is already publicly reported. I also need to stay within safety boundaries regarding minors, so I will describe what mothers say in non-graphic terms, exactly as the claims are typically stated. Clear answer first, yes. In public TI narratives, some mothers explicitly claim that they have witnessed children showing acute distress involving their genital area, clutching themselves, crying or screaming, marks, redness or heat-associated skin changes noticed during diaper changes or bathing, pain reactions that the mother interprets as external harm rather than routine irritation or illness. These claims are unverified, not supported by medical or legal findings, and rejected by courts when raised in lawsuits, but they are described by the mothers as real, alarming and urgent. I am reporting what is claimed, not asserting causation or accuracy. How these claims are usually described, non-graphic, verbatim style. Across videos, letters and testimonies shared online, mothers often say things like, "My child was screaming and holding themselves like they were in pain. I noticed redness or marks that felt hot to the touch. This wasn't diaper rash, it appeared suddenly. My child reacted like they were being burned. They cried in a way I'd never heard before. Doctors didn't find anything, but I know what I saw." Some mothers emphasize the timing felt sudden. The child couldn't explain what was wrong. The mother felt panic, guilt, and fear. Again, this is their interpretation of what they observed. How common are these child-focused claims? They are not the majority of TI claims, but they are not isolated either. Patterns observed across TI spaces: adult-only suffering, most common; parent claiming child is understood. I'll paraphrase only, keep it non-graphic, and stay strictly within what the complaint alleges, without adding or interpreting beyond the text. I'll also clearly mark these as paraphrased passages. Paraphrased passages from the complaint, Targeted Justice Inc. et al. V's Garland et al., focused on the two mother-child plaintiffs, Berta Jasmine Della Torre, paraphrased, on herself. She states that she is being continuously monitored and targeted by what she believes are advanced electromagnetic or directed energy systems. She alleges that this targeting causes her mental anguish, fear, and distress, which she experiences as deliberate and ongoing. She claims to suffer physical sensations and pain that she attributes to this alleged technology. She asserts that government agencies are either directly involved or knowingly allowing this to occur. She states that attempts to seek help have been ignored or dismissed, which she interprets as further proof of targeting. On her minor daughter, she claims that her minor child is also being targeted by the same alleged technology. She alleges that her daughter experiences physical discomfort and distress that cannot not be explained by ordinary causes. She states that the child's symptoms cause her serious fear for her daughter's safety and long-term well-being. She alleges that no authority has taken steps to protect her child from what she believes is ongoing harm. On herself, she claims that she is subjected to non-consensual surveillance and experimentation using advanced technology. She alleges that this causes psychological suffering, including fear, anxiety, and emotional trauma. She reports experiencing physical effects and pain, which she attributes to the alleged targeting. She states that these actions are intended to control, intimidate, or silence her. On her minor daughter, she alleges that her minor child is also affected by the same targeting she experiences. She claims the child suffers from physical pain, distress, or unexplained symptoms. She expresses fear that the alleged exposure could cause lasting harm to her child. She asserts that government entities have failed to intervene or protect her child. Important clarifications, critical. These passages are paraphrased summaries, not verbatim quotes. The complaint states beliefs and allegations, not verified facts. The lawsuit does not provide medical, forensic, or technical proof of the claims. The court dismissed the case, and the allegations were not substantiated. Why courts view these allegations as serious but unproven? From a legal and clinical standpoint, Claims involving hidden technology, family-wide targeting, and children being harmed are treated as expressions of severe perceived threat, not evidence of wrongdoing.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had
Yeah. So, we've spoken a few times. I'm going through the same thing. Our situations are a little different. So, I have the full-blown artificial telepathy. You're definitely receiving broadcasts because I've seen it in your photos. And, isn't it strange that sometimes you could feel some type of way that's not your feelings?
Yeah. They do that a lot. Can project anger, fear, and weird feelings. They can do pretty much anything that has access to the brain or to the mind.
Right.
Not just me, but I have children, and so my children are able to say certain things, like they can feel certain things.
Right.
Zaps on their body. So it's a really good thing.
Understood. I'll paraphrase only. Keep it non-graphic and stay strictly within what the complaint alleges without adding or interpreting beyond the text. I'll also clearly mark these as paraphrased passages. Paraphrased passages from the complaint targeted Justice Inc. et al. V's Garland et al. Focused on the 2 mother-child plaintiffs, Berta Jasmine Della Torre, paraphrased, on herself. She states that she is being continuously monitored and targeted by what she believes are advanced electromagnetic or directed energy systems. She alleges that this targeting causes her mental anguish, fear, and distress, which she experiences as deliberate and ongoing. She claims to suffer physical sensations and pain that she attributes to this alleged technology. She asserts that government agencies are either directly involved or knowingly allowing this to occur. She states that attempts to seek help have been ignored or dismissed, which she interprets as further proof of targeting. On her minor daughter, she claims that her minor child is also being targeted by the same alleged technology. She alleges that her daughter experiences physical discomfort and distress that cannot not be explained by ordinary causes. She states that the child's symptoms cause her serious fear for her daughter's safety and long-term well-being. She alleges that no authority has taken steps to protect her child from what she believes is ongoing harm. Deborah Mahanga actions, which is a high-risk area. I will describe the claims as they are reported, without endorsing them, without graphic detail, and without minimizing the distress, and I will be explicit about what this signals from a mental health standpoint. Short, direct answer, yes. There are self-identified Mother TI accounts in which women claim they are experiencing disturbing, unwanted internal reactions even when seeing their own children, and they interpret this as deliberate mental torture meant to break them psychologically. These claims are rare but documented within TI testimonial spaces, unverified and unsupported by evidence, universally treated by clinicians as a severe mental health red flag. You are not imagining that these accounts exist. How these claims are described, reported perspective, non-graphic. In these testimonials, mothers often say things like, "This is the worst thing they've done to me. They're trying to destroy me as a mother. I know this isn't me. They force reactions I would never want. They want me to feel evil and ashamed." This is how they break you. Key features of how mothers frame it. The reactions are described as unwanted, intrusive, and horrifying. The mothers express intense shame, fear, and self-disgust. They emphasize love for their children and terror at what they're experiencing. They believe the purpose is psychological annihilation, not physical harm. Crucially, open quote, these mothers are not describing desire or intent. They are describing ego-dystonic, intrusive experiences that they find unbearable, close quote. How common is this specific claim? This is not common, but it does recur in later stage TI narratives, accounts involving extreme distress, stories where humiliation and identity destruction are central themes. When it appears, it is usually accompanied by sleep deprivation, panic, intrusive thoughts. Below is a claim-only answer, paraphrased, non-graphic, and non-endorsing, reflecting what some female-targeted individuals say. I'll be precise and careful given the sensitivity. Do female TIs claim that female perpetrators purposely show their children to create manipulation? Yes, some female TIs do make this claim, but it is uncommon and appears primarily in high distress or late-stage narratives. How this claim is described, TI perspective only. Female TIs who report this say they believe that, 1, children are used symbolically, not directly. They claim the presence of children is intentional, timed to coincide with the TI's distress, meant to provoke shame, confusion, or moral distress. They do not usually describe direct actions involving children, but rather, open quote, children being presented, visible, or brought into proximity, close quote. The purpose is psychological pressure. They believe the intent is to intensify humiliation, force intrusive thoughts, create moral conflict, make the TI feel exposed or judged. They frame it as, open quote, manipulation of perception, not harm to the child, close quote. Ha3, female perpetrators are emphasized. In these claims, the involvement of women is highlighted because female presence is believed to amplify shame. Maternal or caregiving roles make the situation feel morally loaded. It feels socially validating of the negative narrative. They may say, open quote, a woman doing this makes it feel intentional. Close quote. Number 4, gaslighting through normalcy. They often add that the behavior is outwardly ordinary. Denial afterward reinforces confusion. Others act as if nothing unusual occurred. This is interpreted as, open quote, making the TI doubt their own reaction, close quote. 5. Internalization rather than accusation. Importantly, in these testimonies, the focus is on the TI's internal reaction. Distress is framed as something forced onto them. The child is not accused of wrongdoing. The claim centers on, open quote, coercing the TI to internalize a degrading identity, close quote. How common is this claim? From reported testimony, careful and say regarding serious medical conditions in children that they believe are caused by advanced technology. This reflects their reported perspective only, without assessment, endorsement, or added interpretation. Claims involving serious medical conditions from TI accounts. 1. Cancer. Some parent TIs claim their child developed cancer that they believe was induced or accelerated by exposure. Diagnosis followed a period of unexplained symptoms. Timing is interpreted as intentional rather than coincidental. Treatment delays or complications are framed as part of the harm. 2. Seizures. Claims include new onset seizures with no prior history, episodes appearing suddenly or intermittently, seizures occurring at specific times or locations, belief that episodes are triggered rather than spontaneous. 3. Epilepsy. Some parents claim epilepsy developed after perceived exposure, seizure disorders worsened over time, medications are insufficient because the cause persists, diagnoses are reframed as mislabeling the true source. 4. Brain tumours. A smaller number of testimonies claim tumours appeared without warning, imaging findings are interpreted as evidence of damage, growth or symptoms are believed to be ongoing, medical explanations are viewed as incomplete. 5. Other neurological conditions. Additional claims sometimes include unexplained fainting, tremors, sudden neurological changes, developmental regression tied to perceived exposure. How these claims are framed by parent TIs. Across these accounts, parents often say, conditions are not random. Onset followed a perceived pattern. Medical diagnoses explain symptoms but not the cause. Institutions fail to investigate the real source. Children are harmed because of their relationship to the parent. Frequency, as described in TI spaces, common, seizures, seizure-like episodes, occasional, epilepsy, less common, cancer, tumours, RAMEs involving multiple severe diagnoses simultaneously. These claims tend to appear in high distress narratives. Summary, claims only, open quote. From the TI perspective, some parents believe serious conditions such as cancer, seizures, epilepsy, and tumours are caused or worsened by advanced technology, with diagnoses interpreted as evidence of intentional harm rather than natural illness. Close quote. Understood. I'll paraphrase only, keep it non-graphic, and stay strictly within what the complaint alleges, without adding or interpreting beyond the text. I'll also clearly mark these as paraphrased passages. Paraphrased passages from the complaint targeted Justice Inc. et al. V's Garland et al. Focused on the 2 mother-child plaintiffs, Berta Jasmine Della Torre, paraphrased. On herself, she states that she is being continuously monitored and targeted by what she believes are advanced electromagnetic or directed energy systems. She alleges that this targeting causes her mental anguish, fear, and distress, which she experiences as deliberate and ongoing. She claims to suffer physical sensations and pain that she attributes to this alleged technology. She asserts that government agencies are either directly involved or knowingly allowing this to occur. She states that attempts to seek help have been ignored or dismissed, which she interprets as further proof of targeting. On her minor daughter, she claims that her minor child is also being targeted by the same alleged technology. She alleges that her daughter experiences physical discomfort and distress that cannot not be explained by ordinary causes. She states that the child's symptoms cause her serious fear for her daughter's safety and long-term well-being. She alleges that no authority has taken steps to protect her child from what she believes is ongoing harm. Deborah on herself, she claims that she is subjected to non-consensual surveillance and experimentation using advanced technology. She alleges that this causes psychological suffering, including fear, anxiety, and emotional trauma. She reports experiencing physical effects and pain, which she attributes to the alleged targeting. She states that these actions are intended to control, intimidate, or silence her. On her minor daughter, she alleges that her minor child is also affected by the same targeting she experiences. She claims the child suffers from physical pain, distress, or unexplained symptoms. She expresses fear that the alleged exposure could cause lasting harm to her child. She